Who am I? I'm a Christian. My name is Mike SAHA, and I'm the target of a secret persecution plan called gang stalker from videos. And since people are ignorant of this and other things, people lack wisdom and understanding in general. Lost people and most saved people are ignorant and lack understanding of things. Sometimes I have people exhibit a lack of knowledge and have severe ignorance. Like I got a comment recently, like a hated comment on a video where I was throwing boxing punches. And somebody left a comment saying, why don't you train at an MMA gym or something like this? And I had people before, so that was a hated comment. Why don't you actually train at an MMA gym if you're interested in the sport? Okay, so I'm not interested in the sport. I'm a Christian warrior, a martial artist, like David, okay? I'm a man of God. I'm a Christian, and I'm being persecuted. And I don't have an interest or a desire to compete professionally. And even if I wanted to, you have to accept that that's something I couldn't do. So I live in Satan's world system. I'm a target of the deep state. And there's certain limitations that I have to accept. So I've also had people leave comments where it's not from a hater angle, but people are watch my streams, they're all martial artists. And they go, wow, it's like you really got some ability or talent, something like this. It's like you should go to the main gym and you can like start competing or something like this type of comments. Now, good or bad, if people are coming at from a hater angle or not a hater angle, the truth remains the same. It would be unwise for me to go to an MMA gym or a boxing gym or even a public library, see. So the same reason I don't go to a MMA gym to train. First of all, I don't need to, okay? I don't need to go to a library to be able to learn things. And it wouldn't be good for me to do that. Because I'm a target individual, target with gang stalking, I can't leave my house without people being sent to attack me with psychological warfare and intermittently physical warfare, where I can be sprayed with chemicals when outside, I could be hit with a dart gun. I got shot in the leg with a weapon, a covert assassination device or whatever it was. You can search CIA dart gun, CIA heart attack gun. I was hit in the leg with something like that. So people that come to my channel and leave comments, it's like you're operating, you live in a false reality and you sleep in the matrix, matrix system slave. And that's a problem. So it's like you lack understanding. So it's like you don't understand that there's things that will be unwise for me, walk circumspectly and not as a fool. So I can't go out on my balcony without the government sending people to release chemicals that I'm allergic to. I can't go to a public library without people in the library being agents, fine monkeys, deep state persecution agents, and I have been targeted physically. So I need to avoid going into public environments unless I have a will to lose my athleticism, my health, and possibly my life. Okay, so I'm a persecuted Christian target individual, and I can't go to a public library or a fucking gym without there being agents there. So put it like this: if I would go to a gym in this city, if they had like a karate gym or something like this, and I want to train karate, let's say I got 30 people there, they would have somebody there that's a fucking agent of the deep state. And I'm not wearing my protective Kevlar-lined clothing there. That makes it hard for them to spray fentanyl on me or chemicals on me when I'm not looking. So I've been in an environment where there's going to be people all around me, some of them agents, and it would be easier for them to spray a poison on me when I'm not looking, or have them be like, wait for the moment one of them that's a plant gets like a bottle of fentanyl or fucking Roundup or some arsenic liquid, and they get told, it's like, if it ever happens, the Mike has a water bottle and is not looking. It's like, I gotta go to the bathroom or something. Your job is to open it and put a drop of this mist liquid in there. I'll come back to the train and drink it. And it's like, I have a health problem. It's like, oh, I guess he died from the stress. It was exercising, all this like this. Same reason, even though I had the ability, where I could be like a Ryan Garcia, I could be rich and famous based on the talent and athletic ability I have. I'm cut out of that cloth, where I'm a person that is like, I could have been like a Conor McGregor based off my athleticism, my talent. If you look at what I can do athletically, being home trained, self-trained, self-taught, imagine if I wasn't a target individual and left alone, okay, how easy it would be for me. It's like I could be a superstar athlete. Same reason that I could be rich and famous based off my singing ability and be like a famous musician. because my singing ability is on par and better than some people are rich and famous singers. My vocal talent, okay? I have a radio voice, but I don't work on a radio station. Do you see how there's a lot of things that I could make a living off of them if it wasn't for this fucking gang stalking program? So because I'm a total individual, there's certain things that I can't do. I simply can't do. I mean, I could if I wanted to. Like if you're a person that's like, I can drive drunk if I want to, but it not be wise, okay? Like I wouldn't be driving drunk even if I lived in the countryside and there were no cops around. It's not that I had to, well, because I would lose my license or something like this, or DUI arrest. I still wouldn't be speeding, driving drunk. I wouldn't be like, well, I'm drunk, let's get in a car and go for a joyride. Because it would be something that could end up with me getting hurt. Okay? Have an accident or get injured or die. So there's certain things that it would be unwise for me to do them. Okay? And I don't believe that God wants me to. So, I saw a video from Stalked by the Feds Lisa recently, a reel on her Instagram, and she's talking video, and she talked about how it's like, oh yeah, I went to a gym here, and she's training like bodybuilding training or whatever. And it's like, yeah, they had an agent. They sent some government agent in here. And there was another guy who was already there in the gym. And then like some guy comes in and he was a fan. And I could tell they gave each other like a look and then they're acting weird. So you understand? Now she's not reporting getting the time I'm getting. She reports like level 1 time. It's like just harassment and gaslighting and narcissistic abuse. What I've gotten the time, it's a level where they will attack me physically. Which means if I go to a gym, I'm allergic to perfume, okay? They will have people that get told in a public gym, if I will buy a gym membership and go to this public gym in the city, there'll be some advantages to that, just use the machines and stuff like that, more stuff to do. They will send people in there and tell them to be like spray themselves down with perfume, so I'm gonna have like an allergic reaction. It'll be simply bad for my health to be there, okay? And that's like at the best, it would be just perfume they're using. I've had packages intercepted in the mail where they tamper with and put chemicals in there. I've been food poisoned by the program. You know, they poisoned my food before. I've been sprayed with chemicals when outside, toxins. I've been shot in the leg with a CIA dart gun, something similar to it, okay? And I had permanent damage in my right leg, where I have a numb spot, nerve damage, in my right calf. It's more than 3 years ago when I was out in public, just me out in public, went to a corner store, and that perp walks by me, a gang stalker. He holds something in his hand, it hits me in the leg with it. Meaning covertly, like very suddenly, like holding something. And it could be like something looks like a pencil or something like this. And then it's like they push a button, shoots a dog at you. So I was hit in the leg with something. Survived it. I believe that could have been an assassination attempt. As soon as I got hit with it, it was like I could feel it impacting and then a weird feeling spreading up and down my leg with nerve twitches. Like you have if you like drank too much coffee, you can have involuntary twitches on your eyes. Like that in the leg and spreading. Like the feeling to describe it would be as feeling of numbness, itchiness, and twitchiness. So it's like my muscles start flashing out. And it's like spreading like a weird feeling. And that could have been an assassination attempt. That could have been a CIA dart guy, heart attack guy, like some kind of venom, nerve toxin or whatever, some kind of chemical. I survived it. And but it did leave permanent damage. With more than 3 years after this happened, I still have an area about this big, right here on my right calf. There's like a numb pressure type sensation constantly. So it's not pain, but it's like a feeling of pressure, like numbness. Okay? Little nerve damage. And possibly I could have died. So I couldn't, do you understand? It's like anytime I just go to the corner store, I'm told by a program that has done things like this to me before. Poison me, try to make me have accidents out in public. Done things to hurt my body, try to make me have accidents. Working to poison me. I've been sprayed with chemicals. So why don't you train at a gym? Because I don't need to, okay? Like I said in my short. Mike, why don't you train at a major if you're into the sport? I'm not into the sport. I'm glorifying God like David because I excel in my athleticism and fighting ability. I can make videos where it's like some celebrity boxer makes a video like roasting about his hand speed. And I'm a Christian self-taught martial artist that has prayed to God to better fighting stronger and faster. And I can best him and like evidently undeniably be like, this guy's a pro boxer, brag about his hand speed from punches, how fast he can do it. And I can go live and best him and make a video proving that I'm faster than him. See, and that's something, and I can glorify God by that. Because I can go, this is because of God I'm like this. Because I pray to God to learn to throw hands. I pray to God to get better at fighting. I pray to God to get faster and stronger, and that's how I'm able to do things, perform at this level. So I don't need to go to the gym, okay? I understand people lack talent and God in their life. It's like they need to go to a gym. It's like they don't have a chance to get to a point where they can throw hands like I do, or get as healthy and fit if they don't have some coach that works with them and helps them. I have God. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's why I've been able to cure myself and others of health problems. See, why don't you go to a psychologist? Okay, I cure myself of panic attacks, which a mental health problem I have for many years. Okay, why don't you go to a psychologist? Jordan Peterson was suffering from anxiety and depression, and he's a clinical psychologist. And I guess he didn't know what I know. It's like, well, I know how to cure anxiety, to improve anxiety and cure panic attacks. So I don't need to go to one of my colleagues and have a clinical psychologist prescribe this. So I'm not being addicted to benzos because he had anxiety, stress issues. Okay, so I guess a person like you, if I was making videos when I still suffer panic attacks, it'd be like worrying about it. I talk about it. Yeah, I get panic attacks and all that. But people like you be like, why don't you go to a public psychologist? Okay, a print I didn't need to, because I'm a person that can pray to God. I have God in my life, and I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. See, I can do all things. I'm more than a conqueror. I conquered, overcame panic attacks, this physical health problem, that mental. Do you understand? So I pray to God, and I'm a person that has God in my life helping me. And I'm able to cure myself of panic attacks. And that's so remarkable. Somebody that has a serious mental health problem for many years, panic attacks for many years, extreme anxiety, I was suffering that. And I cured myself. I cured myself of agoraphobia as well. Was like, so I didn't need to, see, because my competence supersedes the experts, in other words. See, where my abilities supersede who the system laws says these are the best. Tony Jeffries, this guy, okay, Jordan Peterson, clinical psychologist, because my competence supersedes theirs. Okay, in a lot of ways. So anyway, here's the point. Why don't you go to an MMA gym? Because I don't need to. Okay, that I can train at home and learn. I don't need to. Secondly, it will be unwise. So I'm a Christian taught with a secret persecution problem called gang stalking. Ted Gunderson is a person I've been working to. I've been using like his name to get the word out because he was the former head of Los Angeles FBI, and he confirmed what I'm saying is real. Meaning the former head of the LA FBI, Ted Gunderson, confirmed before he got murdered by the deep state, confirmed in a sworn affidavit that government gang stalking of tornadoes is real and nationwide. So you can't go, well, Mike, he was in America, you're in Sweden. Yeah, he said it's nationwide, meaning it exists in the world and not just in America. Okay. And part of what he talked about was how the program can target the target is they can have cars decked up with like spike gadget devices where they can push a button, like it shoots out like a liquid of poison on you. Okay. And he talked about how when his program started, since he's in the FBI, he could tell like the trade craft, okay, that they would use techniques on him, where they would box him in on the highway, and they like a technique where they have like one car passing, one car behind them, and one car driving slow, and then they would have a car, and then they would like spray a chemical on his car or something like this. Okay. So anyways, the point. He was also poisoned with arsenic. Okay. And he reported that he had been shot at too, standing by a window. So he had like assassination, several assassination attempts, one of them like overt, and the other one covert. Okay. So he was poisoned. And this is part of how God helped me to learn what I need to learn. Being a Christian, talking with poisons and harassment and having physical and mental health problems of the target. Part of like the journey of acquiring competence and knowledge, health with the system, has been God helping me to find information. And people that hold the truth, it's like Mike is a total video, he needs to know this. And there's a guy called Ted Gunderson that has talked about some of these toilet tactics. And if God make Mike find this guy, that will help him to protect himself. Okay, so it was a point in time where I wasn't aware of certain capabilities and target methods of the program. So Ted Garrison was poisoned with arsenic. He got super sick while being taught in the video. And he got tested and he had high levels of arsenic. And he started working with an orthomolecular doctor, basically. I remember this, his testimony, but that part of it. And this is before I became like a mega dosing supplement orthomolecular aficionado. Where it's like he's just a targeted video whisper about gang stalking. And it talks about being attacked with chemicals and poisons. Chemical poisons and being food poisoned with arsenic. And he went his testimony, he said, yeah, I got real sick. And I found this doctor, and he loaded me up on supplements, see. So I guess he found some doctor that's like an Abraham Harford student or something like this. But like if you have Andrew Saul as your survival coach, like I'm sick, and he's like, do you understand? So it's not going to be just big pharma drugs. So this guy, part of what he was doing, according to Ted Garrison, was using supplements. So he found some doctor, and what he said is like, I had high arsenic, and this guy loaded me up on a bunch of supplements. He got me on a lot of supplements, and I got better. Okay, so I don't know what he was doing, but I could guess. Okay, like if it worked, and I know that how it would be working. That's the point. Why don't we go to the major? Well, it's because I can't be out in public. I'm being harassed, at the very least. I can't be out in public. I'm being targeted. People working to target narcissistic abuse, psychological warfare, and most of the time, some form of physical attack is out in public. Meaning they send somebody that doused themselves into fuel to get close to me, I'm allergic to it. Okay, or something similar. I can't eat at restaurants because I might get poisoned. See. Another way I was attacked was in a restaurant, and they sent a trio perks into the restaurant. Walking past my table, they sprayed a chemical on me. Same again, similar to when I got shot in the leg with a dart gun. It's like I'm sitting eating at a restaurant. Next to the entrance, a solo table. And there's a group of perps walking in, people working the program. And one of them has a hat, it's like the winter season. And they're holding the head under here. And it's like my table is here. And then I can feel something, as if like I would spray perfume on my face, something like this. I can feel something, and I start reacting on the right side. The right side of my face when it's there is I started to react as if a chemical irritant has been applied topically. And I start itching in the red body eyes and things like this. So covert targeting. And it can be something as simple as like some little thing that sprays perfume or something like this. You're not the shark, but I don't know what that means. You're gonna get blocked for being a toxic little troll. You're not the shark. Yeah, I'm not the shark. Did you hear me say I'm the shark? Okay. I am not in danger. I am the danger. Okay. I'm not locked in hell, or you're locked in hell with me. Okay. But I'm not a shark, because a shark is a predator. So it's like my spirit animal is not a shark. That is out hunting for humans to prey upon. Do you understand? So it's like, oh, you're not the snake or something like this. It's like, but how is that supposed to be this? Be wise as serpents and gentle as doves, harmless as doves. So it's like, I'm a lion though, okay? The wicked people not perceive the righteous born as a lion. So I'm a lion, not a shark, okay? And I've seen videos where a lion goes to drink in the water, and it's a reptilian predator, and they're like an alligator. And the lion doesn't treat and fear one off. He drinks his water, and he doesn't seem to work about taking the other hurt and beat him by the alligator. So anyway, here's the point. I'm a persecuted Christian taught in the video, and I'm taught in the government gang stalk taught videos. And why don't I go to a gym? Because I don't need to, okay? And because it'd be unwise. I can't be out in public without being targeted with psychological warfare and physical warfare by this secret deep state persecution program that is working to target me mentally and physically. I'm in a war, okay? So there's certain things, and maybe I had to make more videos about this, like podcasts and Rumble, and talk about this for other target videos and the public at large to give the truth on targeting, because there's some people like stalked by the feds that is not giving the truth on the targeting. Just give it like some truth is like having narcissistic abuse, and they're not warning targets, they will get inside their home and poison the food in the fridge and things how to stop them. So it's not available to TS. or the community, the public, that wants to know the truth about Lingstalking, what it is. Because it's like she's leaving things out. Okay. So anyways, the point. I'm a total video talking about gang stalking total videos, and it's a war. So why don't you go to a gym? Same reason I don't go to the library. Because anytime I go in public, there's flying monkey minions, agents of the gang stalking program, that get sent there and trying the hardest to get them to lash out and get violent and locked up. Okay. And if I would go outside every day, I think that possibly within a year that will end up happening. If you have autism and ADHD and being harassed 24/7 by the government, deep state, psychology experts and like people are just working to destabilize psychologically, attack your body and your mind, and they're working to get you to lose your crap and lash out violently so that they can lock you up in a psychotic prison and Epstein you and take you out somehow. It's like putting the numbers. If I would spend like 8 hours in public every day, go outside to walks, being targeted, and be done, it's like the chances that it will end up working. It's like one day it's like I snap and lose my shit and I'll be locked up. That will increase. So even if they weren't attacking me physically and trying to make them have accidents and spraying me with chemicals sometimes when I'm out in public, just from the perspective of it would be unwise, okay? It'd be unwise to go outside every day, whatever they did, flying monkeys work to target with psychological warfare, and they're working for the handle to stress you out and get you mad and bully you and harass you subject. It's like the chances of you being able to live like that without ever losing your crap in public and acting out, they're not good. Just like losing your temper and getting violent or something like this. Okay? So from that reason alone, it'd be unwise for me to spend a lot of time in public. Now, on top of that, there's also physical target tactics, where I'm out in public and sometimes the spy monkeys get told to have a spy gadget. And like when I'm paying, let's say I'm standing in line paying for my items, they have a perk like that behind the line, and you can have a little COVID device and spray a toxic chemical at the back of my shirt. I won't notice. Okay? Things like this. So why don't I train at a major? Because I got a video at start the comment. Why don't you train at a major? Actually train. So it's like narcissistic evaluation. I'm sorry, buddy, that a self-trained martial artist is making you feel exposed because you are not as physically powerful and you can't throw hands like me and you don't have the ability. You're not like me in the Matrix. It's like I know Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I know wrestling moves, I know Kung Fu after playing together in fighting, and I'm excelling and outperforming you, okay? And you feel like exposed because you're a guy who trains Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and you don't have the punching power or speed or something like this like me, okay? And you have to like beat out what I'm doing, or try to. So why don't you actually train at an MMA if you're interested in the sport? I'm not interested in the sport. I'm a Christian warrior in a war, and I like to train self-defense. And I'm also able to glorify God with this passion of martial arts training. See? So why don't you actually, as if what I do doesn't count, bitch. Listen to me. It's like if you're like, well, you can't think you're one of these idiots because you're not a genius mentally, far from it. Like, why don't you? It's like you can't get better and raise a chance to win a street fight without training at a gym and rolling with people. Oh, go tell that to Miyamoto Musashi about the Book of Five Rings, who won 60 sword fight duels to the death. Why don't you go to a public school, sword fighting schools? He would show up like Charlie Selenoff and challenge guys in schools, being self-trained like me, and beat people's ass, kill them. Okay, see? And that's like the best sword fighter Japan ever had. So notice how you always get destroyed. Like people are like, well, it doesn't count. It doesn't count. It doesn't count. Like, okay. It's like, yeah, all of this you do in training martial arts, solo training at home. It doesn't count because you have to spar and roll with people and get a gym to actually get better at fighting and improve your chances. It doesn't count that you're training solo at home, throwing punches and everything you're doing. It's not really doing anything to raise your chances of winning a street fight place. So there's a lot of people who come from that perspective. But go tell that to Miyamoto Musashi, who wrote the Book of Five Rings. And Miyamoto Musashi was a sword fighter, the most famous, most successful samurai sword fighter through history. And he had 60 confirmed, at least 60 confirmed duels to the death. Sword fight duels, okay? Like a boxing match with swords, okay, to the death. And he didn't, and he said that you can get better by training at home. How he trained was in the woods, kind of. He got a stick and started doing solo training, like shadow boxing, impact training, okay? And then improved his fighting ability, solo training, with a stick, impact training, and shadow boxing, until he gets to the point where he shows up at. So in Japan at that time, he was a Ronin and mostly a samurai. I mean, he wasn't a bodyguard in the service as an emperor. And in the time that he was active, there were schools, to be like the school of war or something like this. And they have like a dojo, where it's like there's a school where they teach sword fighting, okay? Because there's like an era where people are having sword fights to the death, and it's like a class of person where samurais would be like an elite class, and they'd be also like people that maybe the sons of samurai to go to school to learn sword fighting and stuff like this. Because maybe they'll get hired by like a shogun in the future to be a samurai or stuff like this. So sword fighting was a big deal back then. And Musashi was like me, where the guy who we talked about the start and the end, okay? They clear the beginning from the end, the end from the beginning. So Musashi was the guy who's confirmed to have won 60 plus, at least 60, I don't know the exact number, at least 60 sword fight duels to the death, okay, and won them. And he was starting out solo training at home with a stick and doing shadow boxing, sword fighting shadow boxing, and possibly impact, like going to the woods with a stick and hitting a tree with a sword and leaving him like that. And that he was solo training until he gets to a point where he shows up in a school, a sword fighting school, people that are like an MMA gym, only with swords, okay? And he was that guy like me, solo training. And he shows up and he wants to fight people. And he shows up, tells them to do and beats the teachers and wins sword fight school. And then wins MVP. He shows up at this school, I'm telling this guy to sword fight to the death, like the teacher of the gym, okay? And they had a sword fight to the death for everybody, students. And he got my reputation that way. Outshining the master, and the master can't shine ever again because he's dead from the sword fight, Musashi. And he said, so it's like all of it like wisdom. It's like, go say that to Musashi then, the most successful sword fight in the world. And that's not sports fighting. That's fighting to the death. That's like the core warfare. That's like the purest form, where it's to the death. See, there's no rest, there's no rules, there's no nothing. That's like combat to the death. Okay. And if what works there, pressure tested, not like sword fighting, it's like sports fighting. No, that's something that works when it's just you and another man fighting to the death. If his training methods, his philosophy led to him, the rule he followed led him to that success, that rule was good, see. Whatever he was doing, apparently it works, okay? Apparently it works. You can't be delusional. That if he was a guy who said, yeah, I believe you should get better, and you should go chance the sword fight, do what to do. The first, if he was delusional and wasn't understanding how to get better and getting skills, he would not have had 60 duels to the death and won them, okay? So he was a proponent. If you read the Book of Five Rings, they have an English translation. So at the end of his life, see, so that's saying something too. That's like he didn't die in a sword fight, okay? But at the end of his life, after having won 60 plus sword fight duels to the death, and he's like old man, he's maybe like 90 or 80 or whatever his age is, and it's like, I guess, like mementoing his mori and realizing that I'm not going to live forever. So it's like, and realizing that he has like a competence database that he's rare and he's able to do things, and it's like, possibly I should write some of these things down to pass on to future generations, okay? Because he recognizes that he knows like the way to improve your sword fighting skills. And he wrote the Book of Five Rings, which in Japanese is called Go-Ri no Sho. The Book of Five Rings, Go-Ri no Sho, okay? And he was starting out doing solo training, and then he shows up challenging people at sword fighting schools to sword fights to the death. And he was a Ronin, which means in Japanese feudal Japan, the samurai were like an elite warrior class. And they were like samurais would be seen as like soldiers in an army, police officers like this. Whereas like you couldn't the only people several times in Japanese history were allowed to carry swords in public were the samurai class. Similar to the only people in Sweden that could carry guns in public legally, and fighting sticks and stuff, pepper spray, and the police, okay? So, and then you had Ronin, they were master samurai, and they'd be like roaming around Japan as like a free agent, and things like this. So, here's the point. Why don't you go tell Musashi that? Hey Musashi, if you see him training, why don't you go to a school and actually train sword fighting if you're interested in the sport? Okay. I guess somebody could have said that if they saw him training sword training in the woods. Hey Musashi, why don't you go train at a sword fighting school if you're actually interested in the sport? Yeah, so I'm a Christian Tony widow. I'm taught with government gang stalker Tony widows. And that complicates things. Okay. So there's certain things that are unwise to do. So I had to limit how frequently I go outside, venture outside. And being in environments with a lot of people is not good. Because it's easy for the opponent to attack me physically, covertly. By people having like spy gadgets and shooting with a dart, poison dart, or spraying a toxic chemical on me. So if I care about my health and don't want to be broken down and unhealthy and lose my stuff, then I say it would be unwise too, okay? Because it'd be unwise. But I'm dealing with people that can't recognize somebody who's a leader, okay? And it's like you can go listen to also Mike Israel, because you're on a channel where somebody is superior in competence in health fitness coaching to people that are like rich and famous, and you're a person that doesn't fail to see that too. And maybe you can go listen to Mike Israel and go, if you're interested in health fitness, or go listen to Mike Israel. He needs to listen to my videos and stuff. So why don't you train at a gym? Because I don't need to, and because it'd be stupid. Okay, it'd be stupid. Because you'll be stupid. And I'm a persecuted Christian, talking about gang stalking videos. Which means there's a lot of things change, okay? There's certain things you can't do as a TI. And as a matter of fact, I could be a UFC like Conor McGregor. That's the type of person I am, if it wasn't for the gang stalking. Okay. Now at the latest, even if the Illuminati, the deep state controls sports, they control the whole world, the school system, the public med system, celebrities, they control the music industry, movie industry. Hey Mike, I saw you acting once in a video, looks like you can do it sometimes. Why don't you go to Hollywood and start casting for women? Because the deep state controls Hollywood. So even if I have the ability, the talent, or like the ability somehow to sing or dance or act, or do martial arts, or have a baby voice. It's like, why don't you go and because the deep state that are targeting me have a war against me. And they control who gets to be in a Hollywood movie. They control who gets to be in the UFC. They control who gets to be signed by record labels of like this. They control this world system. So as a Christian, being persecuted, I don't expect to have the deep state not interfere with me. But what they can't do is they can't stop God from helping me have success in the areas that he wants to have success in. Okay. So I'm dealing with fools. Most people are asleep in the matrix. They're asleep in the matrix, and they lack knowledge. Okay. How was seaweed for the guy who left the comment? I'm sure you were like staying home and doing other things. You fucking matrix system bitch slave. Okay, you blind you bitch. So it's like you were probably staying at home shooting all of being scared. It's like, oh, the president's gonna kill me or something like this. I won't be surprised. Okay. I'm just guessing. It's like if you're this fucked up that you're COVID, you're probably like one of these mental ill people that was like having 6 masks and think you're gonna die. That if you go outside for 3 seconds, I won't be surprised. So anyway, that's the point. I gotta finish up. So why don't I go and train at MAJ? Because I don't need to. I've been able to learn. I know Kung Fu like I'm like Need the Matrix or the guy with the glass and daily movement, like a combination. And they talk about people like me. Those moves are written about people like me. because they know there's people that wake up in the 80s and become a Christian, and they don't become a pathetic Christian, but they tap into the potential and become an actualized Christian. And they know that God can make a person see the truth in society and become a problem, like the daily movie, or like in the Matrix. And the system will go after you, persecute you. And one of the things that God can do, like what they did and Mike Saha, is to help a guy to be able to learn boxing fighting without anybody's help. See? Like the Matrix movie. And that movie I do call it. And the hidden truth is that Neo is a Christian, the part of the Matrix movie. Neo starts out being a lost person, and the movie shows him becoming a Christian, and then it's Christian walk. So. The average person, I'm 36, is like mental like a 12-year-old compared to me in terms of knowledge, IQ, ability, and things like this. So the average person now has been destroyed by the deep state, okay? But they're like barely human. It's like God made like the average person should be this intelligent and not this easily deceived. And not because the deep state has worked to destroy the masses, mental and physical. Most people are like 40. They're like 12 or something like this. Do you understand? It's not like you have to be. So my life is like Idiocracy movie. That movie is also about people like me. Like a class of persons, like 1 in a billion, but every generation you get 1 or 2 people like me. That ends up being a problem. Like the guy in the Daily Live Not Short, or the Daily Live guy with the glasses, or in the Matrix. And these movies deal with people like that. Okay? So, whatever, I'm not going to talk more about that. It's like I'm done with this. Okay? So, the deep state have destroyed the average person. So it's like, that's what my life is like the guy in Idiocracy, my judgment. We say, I'm a person in society, everybody's fucking dumb and ignorant. And it's like you go to the hospital, you can see how the hospitals are fucked up too. Okay? And you're like a genius. So I do have a genius level IQ confirmed by psychologists, IQ test, extraordinary intelligence. And I was recommended to apply for Mensa, which the entry test is you have to be a genius to apply. Okay. Now, even if I wasn't, it's like if you live in a world where most people have, it's like a sub 100 IQ, and you have 120, that okay, and I have a higher 120, it's still the difference will be huge. Okay. So most people are fucking retarded, ugly, dumb, and just like a fucking zombie. Okay. I saw this coach call his game something. Okay. It's like, oh, yeah, but you're fucking idiot. You lack competence. He's not as valuable. Coach Call is not as valuable as I am. He's trying to say like learning how to be strong for the country. Most likely it's a fucking voice or something, so I won't be surprised. TOT, like, okay. Like a lot of health fitness influencers. So anyways, the point. He didn't tell you about vitamin C, okay, for liposomal. I didn't see him recommend taking liposomal vitamin C, B complex, niacin, magnesium, and 10 plus grams of creatine per day. Those are things that can make you better. No, he's just vegan, and eating a very diet, and a fucking idiot, brainwashed idiot. Like the average fucking competence like an idiot. It doesn't know shit. Like a healthy, it's a scourge for health fitness influencers. They're like calm and they trick people into thinking that they have competence. But somebody actually has competence, look into it, will scoff at it. Because like Mike Isotel is like ugly, or these people. Like for example, Frank DeForno, back when they did beef with him, and I shot on YouTube, and he's got live streams, and he's like, I'm the best health fitness influencer on YouTube. And it's like he's never told people to start taking more than a gram of vitamin C per day. Okay? He's never told people to, he taught him about titration bathhouse, but I forgot how to call it. Like looking for that. He's never tell people to take 20 plus grams of creatine. And during this time, I was telling people all this, like show myself to it. So there's a lot of incompetent health fitness influencers that get people to think that they have competence, but they're not telling you things that are like fundamental and crucial to know. It's like, oh yeah, these people that like pro athletes that have a nutritionist or coach, and they have new information. And nobody ever told us to take ALA and MAC and liposomal vitamin C and regular vitamin C. Okay. And they're getting like concussive dose to the head with this new information. And because they don't have people like me teaching them, they end up with like DJ Penn with Capra syndrome and like brain damage to the point where he thinks his mother should got him okay. And that could have been avoided if this was public knowledge. So I'm the solution, I'm part of the solution. And the other health fitness influencers, they're like part of the help of the deep state in order to keep the masses at a low level, like my physical, by what they tell them, by what they not tell them. Like research, they're like, don't worry about chemical sweetness to great food and stuff like this. And I've been for years like chemical sweetness bad, sugar drinks also bad. Okay. And then now I started seeing it become more common, like open Instagram or Facebook, you can see a post about like this new study indicating that chemical sweetness could lead to the blood vessels in the brain or something like this. Okay. So yeah, it's like come like this. It's like there's people gonna have to catch on. So I'm gonna finish my fucking disclaimer because this is YouTube, so I like to display this fucking health fitness stuff. I'm not a fucking doctor, okay? I'm not a fucking MD degree having doctor, okay? So I'm a goddamn Christian, okay? I'm not a fucking doctor, okay? So what I've said about health fitness in this video, it's not taken as medicalized information. It's pure my personal belief and opinion. They talk to a fucking doctor before taking any supplements and medications. Talk to a doctor, licensed physician, for making any changes to your diet, lifestyle, supplementation, and medication, motherfucker. Go talk to that doctor, okay? Go to the doctor, and they're the fucking experts, okay? And don't listen to people like me too much. Run everything by a doctor, okay? They know what to do. They're the experts. You listen to what they tell you. Okay? They're the fucking experts. All these doctors work in hospitals, they're the fucking experts. Okay? So, you're lucky you wasn't listening to me during COVID because the doctor told you to get COVID jabs and the booster. And I wouldn't have told you to. So you're lucky you didn't listen to your doctor's out there. I didn't get the COVID jab or the booster. But your doctor told you to get it. Your MD. So you're lucky you listen to these guys because if you wouldn't listened to me, you'd be unvaccinated with COVID. And then you could have got fucked up by the ICU dying of it. It's like that in COVID, okay? Like real bad, okay? So it's like keep listening to the doctors, okay? So as a disclaimer, nothing I've said in this video is medical advice information, not intended to be fucking taken like that. It's my personal belief and opinions about things, okay? And I'm a human, which means I could be wrong about something. So I gotta do so. Hi, what are you even saying? Force the spice with some motion instruction sheet if you the wrong way. Okay? Because you're a dumb idiot, retarded, and you listen to an articulate, intelligent person with a fast-fine brain speaking fast. You're so dumb and fucked up that you have a hard time comprehending what I'm saying. Okay? What are you even saying? Yeah, I keep up with the slow fucking low gear brains, okay? Watch bad videos, you can tell I'm intelligent. But you're gonna do some narcissistic gas. But what are you even saying? As if there's something wrong with you and I can't understand what I'm saying. No, there's something wrong with you if you can't understand what I'm saying. And your response shows to be a toxic person. Because I call it a person who responding differently in this video. So go fuck yourself, pussy bitch. I'm gonna finish up. And you can be a little gang stalking, deep state agent, cyber stalker. The cyber stalkers come in here. And you're gonna see, okay? But good luck, okay? I got it wrong enough. I have the power to make videos today if I want to that are remarkable and extraordinary, and it's all like enough views. There's things that it's like I'm rare and can show people like my media people, for example, and teaching the truth to Christians, secret health fitness truth that the pastor hasn't told them, that is in the best interest of. So it's like I keep doing what I'm doing. It's like I'm gonna have a great success. That's why I had to work to keep it for a great success and rig the game and like cheat and sabotage me and play all these dirty games. So yeah, YouTube is not only fucking game in town. I'm gonna stream on other platforms. So they're not gonna be able to like, well, if Mike starts reaching too many people, so they start blowing up, so we turn off YouTube. So yeah, bitch, then people know I'm gonna run the Tibbetts bar. Okay, so that's the video.